In this video, we are going to go into the future and take a look at recruiting in 2025. That will include looking at the top 10 prospects and who they have committed to and who's still available, and then we'll take an early look to see what schools have a head start on commitments for 2025, and as well what schools have made the player cut down list. As the popular players, they tend to narrow their list down to 14 to 6 or 5 or 3. Before we start, if you enjoyed the content, then please consider giving the video a like and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. So with the top 15 players, I have gone by ESPN's recruit rankings. Number 1 for 25 is currently Aaliyah Chavez. She is a guard from Texas. She currently has 6 on her final list, which includes LSU, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, South Carolina, and Texas. She is 5'11", and ultimately I think most feel she'll wind up at point guard. I've done a full video on her, so I'm not going to talk much in detail. Number 2 is Sienna Betts, who's already committed to UCLA to be with her sister and Corey Close. Not surprisingly, Betts is big like her sister, but has a little bit of a different game. She moves around easier, and the thing I like about her during the World Championship, she really finishes easy with sort of like a little bit of a hook shot with her left and right hand. It's not hard to envision her winding up ultimately being the best player in this class. Number 3 is Jasmine Davidson. She's a 6'1" guard. She has 8 currently on her list: Duke, USC, UCLA, Stanford, South Carolina, LSU, TCU, and Texas. She is slender, but she's able to get to the basket. She's left-handed, has a nice little step-through move, and shoots well as well, so she's going to score. She falls out of bed and is able to score, basically. She's a natural scorer. Number 4 is Aaliyah Crump. She's a 6'1" guard who is now committed to Texas. Texas obviously has dreams of pairing her with Aaliyah Chavez, who they're still on her list, as well as with Madison Booker, which would be fairly a nasty backcourt and front court. Number 5 is Divine Burridge, a 5'10" guard from Iowa. She has Arizona, Baylor, Illinois, LSU, South Carolina, and Virginia Tech on her final schools list. She can defend on the perimeter, but as well, she has a good shot. Her coach, Paul Rucker, describes her as a gym rat, saying, "We don't have to chase Divine to get to work hard," he said. "She's going to have a ball in her hands in some gym. It may be church. It could be the West Y. It may be at another school in our conference having a pickup game." Number 6 is Agot McKeer, who has Duke, UConn, North Carolina, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Michigan State on her final list. McKeer is a 6'1" wing. She had a good matchup with Addison Deal, who's also highly rated in the 2025 class. That got her more on the radar. She's Canadian and played for their World Cup team and went well. And in the gold medal game versus the U.S., she went for 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals. Number 7 is Zakiya Johnson. She is a 6-foot guard. Kentucky, Louisville, LSU, Notre Dame, and South Carolina are her final schools on her list. She can go inside and outside as a scorer, averaging just under 19 points, 7.3 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and 2.1 steals per game. And on three-pointers, she took 80 from three-point range and hit it at 37%. She is from Sacred Heart and Louisville, and there is a heck of a recruiting battle going on with her between Kentucky, Louisville, LSU. They're all in the mix. But I think it's fair to say Louisville is the front runner when she says, "That's my home. My teammate just committed there, Louisville, and I'm around them a lot too. I'm going to be really tough because I can feel the sisterhood at Louisville too, and home always takes care of you. I just really want to see for myself." Grace Knox is rated number 8. She's a 6'2" wing. She has 4 on her list, which includes LSU, Texas, USC, and Tennessee. 2 years ago, she was playing in Vegas and was a top prospect, but she hurt her back. It sounded like a fractured vertebrae, and she actually transferred to Etiwanda in California, and over the last year she's been doing a lot of core stability, and her 24-25 season was a good one. Like by the end of the season, she said she wasn't even thinking about her back. She is a physical player who is trying to develop her outside shot, and if that happens, then she will be the all-around full package you want for a wing player. Number 9 prospect is Emily Skinner, who's a 5'11" combo guard. I currently show the schools best lined up for her are Arizona. She took an official visit to Iowa, as well, North Carolina, Utah, and Utah State. She is dominating her high school talent, averaging 24 points, 7.7 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and 3.5 steals and 1.7 blocks per game, and led them River Hawks to a 25-2 record into the championship. In a nutshell, she is just a natural athlete that makes everything look easy, and she's the type of player you could basically plug her into any program and she will go fine. Number 10 is Haley Swain, a 5'10 point guard who's already committed to Stanford. She's shifty, can get to the basket, has a nice little floater as well. She can put ball pressure on defense. She's just a natural point guard. Now, let's switch gears and take a look at what schools are in front of recruiting for 2025. Now, this is like money in the bank. The schools I choose will have the highest recruits already committed to their school. But to be clear, I acknowledge this is way too early. And like schools like South Carolina, they don't have any commits for 2025, so they are not at the top of the list. But they are in the mix for so many of the top-rated recruits like Chavez, Davidson, Baraz, Meeker, Johnson, Prawl, and Civil. I mean, they're all top 40 recruits and have made those players final list of schools that they're interested in. So they will get their commitments as the year goes out. But if I was announcing it today, UCLA would be at the front because they've got bets in the bank and Davidson's on their final schools. Texas as well would be number 2 as they've got Aaliyah Crump, the number 4 recruit, and they're in the mix for Aaliyah Chavez and Davidson and Grace Knox. The other school that has a lot in the bank is Stanford. They've got Haley Swain, Alexandra Ekma, who's rated number 33, and then they have 2 more recruits, an 83 ranked recruit, Nora Ezek, and 87, Carly Amborn. Not to mention, they're in the mix for Jasmine Davidson as well, and Laura Sumfai. The last one they're in the mix for is Holland Harris, who's rated number 42. So Kate Pay is doing a good job of maintaining recruiting. Notre Dame has number 12 recruit Leah Macy as well. They're in the mix for Zakiah Johnson, who's number 7, and number 15, Denia Prawl. As well, the other major program with a coaching change, Kim Caldwell. They have done well with getting on the board with Mia Paldue and Maya Paldue. They're the twins. They're 5'10 point guards or 5'5 point guards who cause chaos on the court as well. They've got Denia Prawl, who's still considering them, and Jada Silva and Holland Harris. They've made the cut on their final list. Now, my final one I'll mention is UConn. Yes, supposedly the back-to-sport UConn bias. Well, they already have 2 in the bank with Khalees Fisher, who's number 25, and number 68, Gandhi Malou Mamel. And then they're in the mix for Agot Meeker, Deanna Prawl, and Laura Sumfai. Laura Sumfai has actually cut her list down to 3. She took out Tennessee and Virginia Tech, so they're firmly in the mix for her. Sumfai still has Stanford and Duke on her list, so 1 in 3 shot for Sumfai is not bad. All right, now it's over to you. Did I leave somebody off that's going well, or did I miss something? Happy for your feedback and corrections. I know this is way too early, but I just thought we'd take an early look as it's a bit of a quiet time in women's college basketball and the WNBA. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a good night.